a half game back.
Oh, no.
He's a half game back of Brady. Look at that. There was some kind of there was a tie with one of his best bets. Producer Jack was saying something like that. Yeah, so what it all means is that it all comes down to this. It's winner take all for this, too, for Pete's best bet, and that's how it should be. Pete and Brady in Vegas all week long, taking in the sights and sounds, likely dropping a few dollars. And they found their way to Vegas HQ, set to go at it one last time with our Tommy Tran and Joe Moose. There's the Sphere. They had the Super Bowl rings on the Sphere last night. That looked
incredible.
Absolutely fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, let's send you out there. Tommy and Joe, take it away, gents.
Thank you, JSL. There is a plaque some 2.5 miles from where we sit commemorating Elvis's 636 consecutive sellouts at the International. Here to rival that record, the best in the business this week in Las Vegas. The great Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn, fellas, we just saw the numbers. I want to start with a different number. 3 days in Vegas, usually plenty. Pete, how are we feeling right now?
Feel great. Feel great. Wonderful.
I've got some long hours, so I am dragging at this point. But I'm getting excited for the game. It is Super Bowl 58 still, right?
Correct.
I'm not time traveling into the future at some point? Okay.
No, it's 58.
All right.
Brady Quinn sleeping in half-hour increments, and as you just saw, a half game between them. Just how we drew it up, fellas. 2 more picks to put into the record, and everything up for grabs between you two. Let's start on the game numbers here. 49ers laying 2.5. Total's 47.5. 23 Super Bowls have been 4 points or less on the line. All of those, outright winner covers the number. So really, we're just picking a winner here, guys. Brady, as you look at that 2.5, the 47.5, what are the first things that come to mind?
It's surprising. It's surprising that San Francisco is favored, and really just for this reason. I think if you look at both these teams since they got into the postseason, you know, Pete, KC has kind of found their rhythm offensively. No one's been able to stop Travis Kelce in that combination, and Rashee Rice has continued to develop too, and they're running the football better. So all the concerns about the offense have been alleviated once they got in the postseason, and the defense, like they've played all year, has been absolutely lights out. On the flip side, San Francisco's had to come back in all of these games, and it makes you feel like they're just hanging on. So for that reason, I know San Francisco's an incredibly talented team, but this is Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm just surprised this number isn't close to a point, if not a pick 'em.
You know, it's interesting because if they had made this line before the postseason, it would have been the 49ers by what?
4 or 5?
Yeah, and so because they played poorly in the postseason, particularly the defense, that's the concerning part, is that defense has been bad. Mahomes and the offense, they look good. They haven't lit it up. But this defense has been so bad, and the flip side of that is the Chiefs' defense has been outstanding. They've been, think about it. You take down Miami and Tua. You take down Josh Allen on the road and Lamar Jackson on the road. So, I mean, you've faced a bunch of good offense, really good offenses, and you've done a great job. So, I think this is a Mahomes game in the end. I think it's going to be really close, but I think he's going to get the ball, and this is the way I wrote it when I wrote my pick. He's going to get the ball back with about 2:20 left in the game, started as 25, down 3. He ain't going to get a field goal. He's going to get a touchdown to win it, and they're going to win the game. And I think they cover the game and win the game both.
So he's already alluded to his pick already.
We're not doing our predictions yet, Pete.
It's okay. Pete just wants to unload everything all at once then. So then I have to, again, Brady, go to you and your pick. I do have a follow-up on that. So, Brady, again, we take the 2.5 or the total. Which you're going with here?
As far as the pick goes, I'm going to go ahead and take the points of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we ventured into Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady territory. You don't bet against Patrick Mahomes in these spots. I think it's a little bit higher scoring game, though. I think we differ in that. But I think a lot of that has to do with how the officiating goes early in the game. Bill Vinovich, who's going to be the head official, I think he's going to have to keep a close eye on the tackles for Kansas City. Nick Bosa kind of put it out there like, hey, we feel like these guys hold a lot. I'm sure the San Francisco 49ers are making the officials very much aware of that. If they start calling them early in the games, it could be an issue for Kansas City protecting Mahomes and being able to get away with some of that. If they let some of it slide and let them play, it's a little looser game, then I think it's a higher scoring game. Not as many concerns, too, about Kansas City covering that number.
I'm mad at myself, by the way, Tom.
Why?
Because I gave out my pick early, and his pick on the paper was different. Now he's trying to make sure he wins at the end by changing his pick.
What pick was different?
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
yeah.
You also picked San Francisco beginning of the year, though, Pete. You're not riding your same
I told you I got off the cable car.
Okay, you got off the cable car. You're going the other way.
So, well, hold on. Are you getting credit then just because you predicted the beginning of the year either team wins now?
I'm not. You admit that you got it.
Well, that way I can't lose. It's like when you give out one side of the country a pick and the other side the other side.
This is where I wanted to follow up to your guys' point. If this was San Francisco at its best, okay? Playing a month ago, on paper, they're the better team. So if you took San Francisco pre-postseason and you think they're going to play to capacity, would you still be taking the Chiefs in this game, Brady?
I'd still be taking the Chiefs.
Okay.
And for this reason, I think when you look at how this team matches up, you know, Brandon Ayuk's had a phenomenal year. Deebo Samuel's phenomenal. So is the secondary for the Kansas City Chiefs with Trent McDuffie and the way L'Jarius Sneed's been able to lock people down. I think the offensive line, even though Joe Tooney is not going to play, you know, Pete's Paisan Passion, Nick Allegretti, he's played well in that spot so far. And it's not like the San Francisco 49ers have been good stopping against the run, or even the interior of the defense has been great. And the last thing I'll say is this. They play so much zone coverage. I just don't think that's going to work versus the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He will pick you apart. So unless the pass rush, and that's a four-man rush, becomes a big issue, Pete, I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to find his way of dicing up that defense, and we've seen that throughout the course of the playoffs.
You know, it's interesting, and I'm glad you mentioned that zone coverage, because remember, early in his career, Patrick Mahomes faced a lot of man-to-man coverage and destroyed it. And so the thinking was that everybody kind of adapted
but
their
look
defense.
who he had then. It was Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Without Hill, it changes a little bit of what you can do.
I'm crediting him because defenses around the league adjusted to his style, and a lot of teams play that style now where you play a lot of off coverage and deep coverage and to try and prevent the big play. That's what the league is right now.
Yeah.
So, but he's improved so much against it, like you said. He'll find the soft spots and be able to move the football. I'm not worried about that at all.
But this is what happens when you give Pete Prisco a rundown. I think he did front load all of his picks in about 2.5 sentences
Sure
there,
did.
Tommy. But we're turning our attention here to a player prop as well. Not going to go into the official record for this head-to-head. We'll get to the final pick in the head-to-head, but we do need to look at an MVP number. There's a lot of guys out there. Pete, you mentioned just moments ago before we jumped on air, you're looking to a running back to sort of turn the tide here as it pertains to the MVP award.
And believe me, it pains me to pick a running back. You guys know how I feel about the running back position. You draft them, develop them, and run them into the ground and get another one. Well, this one is ready to make a big game and a big statement against a defense that's giving up 5.6 per rush. 5.6 per rush in the postseason. That is dreadful. That would be last in the league. They're getting blocked. The guys up front are getting blocked. And Brady, we've talked about it. When they get blocked, those linebackers have a hard time flowing to the football, and that's their entire game. I think the interior of the offensive line for the Chiefs will be able to block them. They will run the football. I'm all in on Isaiah Pacheco as the MVP.
He's going to have a big game then if Pete's prognostication about how the game is going to end before that final drive.
120
is leading them down the field.
Yeah, but was 120 and 2 get you a touchdown?
I don't know. It's going to be hard to not pick Patrick Mahomes if he's leading them down for the game-winning touchdown.
120 and 2.
It's like Pete at the roulette wheel. He's just spraying the board. He's hitting numbers. He's playing corners. He's playing lines. Exactly.
A little on the black on the outside.
To Pete's point, 7 straight games with a touchdown for Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah,
and in
great.
6 of our last 7 Super Bowls, we've seen someone score 2 touchdowns in a game. So if that is the script, and if history is a harbinger of
if he
things to
rushes for
come,
120 and 2 touchdowns, and maybe even that last one is a game-winning touchdown, is he the guy that wins?
Potentially, but tell me what Mahomes is doing then. I mean, look, you and I
He
both
had
know.
180
You and I
going
both
into that
know.
last drive.
You and I
Wheel route
both
to
know.
Pacheco.
Huh?
You and I both know
They
that
wanna
this
give
is
it
not
to
a
the
Kansas City offense that wants to run the football bunch.
Right.
It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. If not him, maybe it'd be Kelce, probably a receiving target, at least as far as how they operate offensively speaking. So it sounds chalky. I'd rather go with Patrick Mahomes, especially if he leads this game-winning drive to go win it like Pete's talking about.
He went chalky again, like he always does.
Yeah, but I also how like you did the Prisco qualifiers, 120 and 2, but then the last one's a game-winning catch that you got right there. So we'll see.
There's always possibilities. There's possibilities.
You come up with this grand story of how the game is going to end, and then you're not even getting
Well, what if
back
he
to
goes into
Mahomes
that
credit.
last drive with 180?
What does he end up with, though? 240?
Well, he leads it on a drive. Doesn't mean they don't have any running in the drive.
If it's a 2-minute drive, Pete, you're not going to run the football ton, are they?
I'm sure they can. He can run with a draw.
All right.
Let's find how he weaves a best bet in here.
Yeah,
Tom.
exactly. So then we're going to tee you up on a best bet, Pete. Where are you going to go? And it's best bet, singular. You can't go
And
more
this
than
is
2
going to
here,
decide the race,
Yeah.
as I know it.
Sort of. I mean, a little fuzzy numbers there. We'll see.
He's worried. He says the numbers aren't right. Are you disputing the numbers, Brady?
No, we're not disputing numbers.
Yes, you are. I saw you.
It was Dormy going into it.
No, it wasn't Dormy. That's not what we hear. I'm going with the under. Again, because I think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. If there isn't, the two coaches have done their teams a disservice. Because you got one defense that also struggles against the run in Kansas City, and you have another defense that totally struggles against the run, 5.6 per rush. So I think both teams run it, and it's going to be a lower scoring game. I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, my best bet, though, is Kansas City covering the number. See, he thought it was an over-under, but if they don't win, then obviously it hurts us in that respect. But you're giving Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid points. Yeah. To me, it's enough to place it as the best bet. Everything else out there, who knows how this thing finishes up. To Pete's point about the over-under, I could see it hitting the under, but it really depends on how tightly it's officiated. If it's looser, I always tend to feel like in the Super Bowl, we want points. We want to see teams score, so they tend to let some things get away. And let's not forget, too, Bill Vinovich was the official for the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game, where somehow there wasn't a call there at the end of the game. I don't know how that'll factor in, but there has been some drama in the past in some of the games he's officiated. But I've got the Chiefs. I'm taking the points. That's my best bet.
We'll see how it all plays out. Prisco looking into his crystal ball and giving us the game script. Pete, can you tell us what's coming next year on HQ?
Well, I know it ain't Super Bowl 63 like some think it is.
Brady Quinn also, by the way, with backing the Chiefs, backing Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. 10-1-1 against the number. Again, both of these fellas like Kansas City. They're on opposite sides on the total. And pick to win Super Bowl MVP. Brady going with Mahomes. Prisco with Pacheco.